If I'm Shedeur Sanders, I'm looking at Dylan Gabriel. You're already better than him from a football standpoint. You're going to be better than him on the practice field starting in Brea, Ohio in a couple weeks for training camp. Kenny Pickett, I think he can be beaten out at some point by halfway through that season, and then Joe Flacco is Joe Flacco, and they're going to want to move to a younger quarterback. So I'm looking at Shedeur Sanders just staying in the fight, waiting his turn, driving the speed limit, and by the back half of the season, there will be an opportunity for him. Just stay in the fight and compete.
One thing we know for sure, the only constant with the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation throughout the years.
What's good? What's good? Your boy is back with some absolutely crazy news that just dropped. And I'm telling you right now, this is going to change everything you thought you knew about the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation. ASA Shedeur Sanders fan, we just got some absolutely insane news from Ryan Clark on Get Up that's going to blow your mind. Ryan Clark just dropped a massive bombshell about Shedeur's path to the Browns starting job, and let me tell you, what he said about Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett is going to have you jumping out of your seat. I mean, when Ryan Clark starts talking about how Shedeur is already better than Dylan Gabriel from a football standpoint, and how Kenny Pickett can be beaten out by halfway through the season, you know something big is brewing in Cleveland. This is the kind of analysis that could literally change everything we thought we knew about the Browns quarterback room. And trust me, you're going to want to hear every single word of this breakdown. Look, I've been following Shedeur Sanders since his Colorado days, and I'm telling you, this Ryan Clark take is exactly what we needed to hear. But before we dive into this absolute bombshell, make sure you smash that like button because this video is about to get wild. And trust me, you're going to want to share this with every Browns fan you know. So here's what went down on Get Up this morning. And I'm not even kidding when I say this might be the most important quarterback analysis we've heard all offseason. Ryan Clark was breaking down how Shedeur Sanders can win the Browns starting job, and the way he laid it out, man, it's got me more excited than I've been in months about this kid's future. Now, from what I've seen in the footage and what Ryan Clark is telling us, the path is actually clearer than we thought. EJ Manuel started the conversation by asking how Shedeur Sanders wins the Browns starting quarterback job, and Ryan Clark's response? Absolute fire. He said the big key first is owning that locker room. You have to walk in there not with confidence, in the sense of bravado or arrogance, but you have to make sure these guys see you putting in the work. And here's where it gets really interesting, you guys. Ryan Clark brought up Cam Ward, the #1 pick, saying he's showing up at 5:30 in the morning. That's the kind of work ethic that earns respect, and Ryan Clark is telling Shedeur he needs to do the same exact thing. Go in there, don't do a lot of talking, just make sure your teammates see you working. I mean, think about this for a second. Ryan Clark is essentially saying that Cleveland needs something at quarterback, and he's not sure if it's going to be Kenny Pickett or anyone else currently on that roster. That's a massive statement right there. He's basically saying the job is wide open for Shedeur if he handles his business the right way. But here's where Ryan Clark really dropped the hammer, and this is what's got me fired up. He said Shedeur needs to do all the right things on and off the field, and he'll have his opportunities in training camp to win the job. Now, Kevin Clark jumped in with some real talk about Shedeur getting pulled over twice late at night going 100 miles per hour, and you know what? That's fair criticism. Kevin said it's not the end of the road by any stretch, but when you're the starting quarterback of a $7 billion enterprise, everything you do is magnified. And you know what? I could be wrong about this, but I actually think this controversy might work in Shedeur's favor in the long run. Here's why. It's going to force him to be even more focused, even more dedicated to proving himself. From what I've seen from this kid throughout his career, he responds to adversity better than almost anyone. But here's the real bombshell that Ryan Clark dropped. And this is what's going to have Browns fans going absolutely crazy.
If I'm Shedeur Sanders, I'm looking at Dylan Gabriel. You're already better than him from a football standpoint. You're going to be better than him on the practice field starting in Brea, Ohio in a couple weeks for training camp. Kenny Pickett, I think he can be beaten out at some point by halfway through that season, and then Joe Flacco is Joe Flacco, and they're going to want to move to a younger quarterback. So I'm looking at Shedeur Sanders just staying in the fight, waiting his turn, driving the speed limit, and by the back half of the season, there will be an opportunity for him. Just stay in the fight and compete.
Ryan Clark looked straight into that camera and said something that's going to have Dylan Gabriel fans absolutely heated. He said, "If I'm Shedeur Sanders, I'm looking at Dylan Gabriel. You're already better than him from a football standpoint. You're going to be better than him on the practice field starting in Brea, Ohio in a couple weeks for training camp. Boom. Did you hear that? Ryan Clark just said on national television that Shedeur Sanders is already better than Dylan Gabriel from a football standpoint. I mean, that's not just analysis. That's a straight-up declaration of war in the Browns' quarterback room. And it didn't stop there. Ryan Clark kept going, saying Kenny Pickett can be beaten out at some point by halfway through the season. And then Joe Flacco is just Joe Flacco. They're going to want to move to a younger quarterback anyway. So basically, Ryan Clark is mapping out Shedeur's path to the starting job like it's already inevitable. This is exactly what I've been saying for months, you guys. I've been watching Shedeur Sanders since his Colorado days, and the arm talent, the accuracy, the pocket presence, it's all there. When Ryan Clark is saying he's already better than Dylan Gabriel from a football standpoint, that's not just hot. Take television. That's legitimate NFL analysis from a guy who played at the highest level. From what I've seen in college, Shedeur has everything you want in a modern NFL quarterback. The quick release, the ability to read defenses, the leadership, qualities that you can't teach. And now we've got Ryan Clark basically confirming what a lot of us have been thinking. This kid is special. But here's what's really interesting about Ryan Clark's breakdown. He's not just talking about talent. He's talking about the Browns' track record at quarterback. He said there's only one key with the Cleveland Browns quarterback position. Wait, because everybody in front of you is going to eventually flop. That's brutal honesty right there. Ryan Clark brought up decades of data since the Browns moved back to Cleveland, and he's basically saying the only constant with the Browns' quarterback situation has been change. So his advice to Shedeur? Stay in the fight, wait your turn, drive the speed limit, and by the back half of the season, there will be an opportunity. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, what about those speeding incidents? And look, that's a fair point. Kevin Clark brought that up, and he's right. When you're in that position, everything is magnified. But here's what I think, and let me know if you agree with me in the comments. I think this might actually be the wake-up call that Shedeur needed. Think about it this way. Every great quarterback has had to overcome something early in their career. Tom Brady had to overcome being picked in the 6th round. Aaron Rodgers had to overcome falling in the draft. Shedeur Sanders has to overcome these off-field issues and prove he's mature enough to handle the pressure. And from what I've seen from this kid's character and work ethic, I think he's going to come back stronger than ever. Ryan Clark even said, he has the most ability in that room, and he has a chance to earn that job if he stacks one good day on top of the next. What do you guys think about that? Do you think Shedeur can turn this adversity into motivation? Let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely curious about your thoughts on this whole situation. But here's what really gets me excited about Ryan Clark's analysis. He's not just talking about Shedeur's talent. He's talking about the Browns' desperate need for a franchise quarterback. When he says Cleveland needs something at quarterback, that's an admission that what they currently have isn't working. Kenny Pickett? Look, I don't want to be disrespectful to the guy, but his track record in Pittsburgh wasn't exactly spectacular. Dylan Gabriel? He's a nice college player, but Ryan Clark just said on national television that Shedeur is already better than him. From a football standpoint, Joe Flacco, he's a veteran presence, but he's not the long-term answer. That leaves Shedeur Sanders as the most talented quarterback in that room, and Ryan Clark basically confirmed it. When you've got an NFL analyst with Ryan Clark's credibility saying that Shedeur just needs to stay in the fight and wait his turn, that's essentially a roadmap to the starting job, from what I've seen in the clips and reports coming out of Browns camp. Shedeur has been putting in the work. He's been studying the playbook. He's been building relationships with his teammates, and he's been showing the kind of leadership that you want from your franchise quarterback. And here's something that Ryan Clark touched on that I think is crucial: the importance of earning respect in that locker room. When he talked about Cam Ward showing up at 5:30 in the morning, that's not just about work ethic. That's about showing your teammates that you're willing to outwork everybody else on the roster. I think Shedeur has that kind of mentality. From what I've seen throughout his career, he's never been afraid of hard work or competition. And now he's got Ryan Clark basically laying out the blueprint for how to win the starting job in Cleveland. But let's talk about the elephant in the room for a second. Some people are going to say, well, what about those off-field issues? And look, I'm someone who will call it how it is. Those speeding incidents weren't a good look. But you know what? I think this kid is going to learn from those mistakes and come back even stronger. Kevin Clark made a good point when he said Shedeur has plenty of time to win back the confidence of his team and the leadership of the organization. And honestly, I think the fact that Ryan Clark is still talking about him as having the most ability in that room shows that the football people aren't giving up on him. What do you think about that? Do you think Shedeur can overcome these early challenges and still win the starting job? That's a fair argument that needs to be made, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. But here's what I keep coming back to: Ryan Clark's assessment of the talent level in that Browns quarterback room. When he says Shedeur is already better than Dylan Gabriel from a football standpoint, that's not just analysis. That's a prediction about what's going to happen when they get on the practice field together. And I'll be honest with you, I've been watching both of these guys, and I think Ryan Clark is absolutely right. Shedeur has the arm talent, the accuracy, and the football IQ that you want in a franchise quarterback. Dylan Gabriel? He's a nice college player, but I don't think he has the same ceiling. From what I've seen, Shedeur's ability to read defenses and make quick decisions is already at a level that most college quarterbacks never reach. When you combine that with his arm talent and leadership qualities, you've got a recipe for success at the next level. Ryan Clark also made an interesting point about the timing of everything. He said by the back half of the season, there will be an opportunity for Shedeur to step up. And honestly, that timeline makes a lot of sense to me. Think about it. Kenny Pickett is going to get the first shot because he's the veteran. But if he struggles early in the season, the Browns are going to want to see what they have in their younger quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel might get a chance, but if Ryan Clark is right about Shedeur being better from a football standpoint, it's not going to last long. And here's what really excites me about this whole situation. Shedeur is going to have the benefit of learning from veteran players while still being young enough to develop. That's the perfect storm for a young quarterback trying to establish himself in the NFL that we need to see how this plays out in training camp. But from what Ryan Clark is telling us, the path is there for Shedeur if he handles his business the right way. And based on everything I've seen from this kid's character and work ethic, I think he's going to do exactly that. So here's my prediction, and let me know what you guys think about this. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to surprise a lot of people this season. The talent is there, the opportunity is there, and now he's got the motivation to prove all the doubters wrong. What do you think is going to happen with the Browns quarterback situation? Do you think Shedeur can win the starting job by the back half of the season like Ryan Clark suggested? Let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely curious about your thoughts on this whole situation. Look, at the end of the day, Ryan Clark just gave us the most honest assessment of the Browns quarterback room that we've heard all offseason. Shedeur Sanders has the most talent. He's already better than Dylan Gabriel from a football standpoint, and Kenny Pickett can be beaten out by halfway through the season. That sounds like a recipe for success to me. This kid just needs to stay focused, keep working, and let his talent speak for itself. And from everything I've seen from Shedeur Sanders throughout his career, that's exactly what he's going to do. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on all the latest Shedeur Sanders news, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We're going to be covering every single development in this Browns quarterback battle, and trust me, you're not going to want to miss what happens next. Drop a comment below with your thoughts on Ryan Clark's analysis, and let's keep this conversation going. Are you as excited as I am about Shedeur's chances in Cleveland? Let me know.